Hello there, everybody. Bedrock Builder here again. Wanted to show you how to put together a ghast and skeleton farm in the Soulsand Valley because those two mobs really like to spawn here almost exclusively. Besides those two, you will get the occasional Enderman. These farms are great if you want to stack up on what are these Ghast Tears. Also, get a pretty decent amount of gunpowder out of the farm and a whole lot of bones and arrows. I stopped collecting the gunpowder and bones personally here in my survival world just because I really don't need them. But yeah, you know, you get quite a few stuff. I already have the. I set this up to automatically filter out arrows right off the bat because you will get tons of arrows. And then I just been tossing everything extra into the lava. I know it's horrible to collect all this stuff and then throw it away, but I really, really don't need any more gunpowder or bones in my world. But it's essentially 2 kill chambers off to the side of this kind of central AFK collection spot. They are killed by wither roses, and then everything is collected by hopper minecarts below the platform. So you will need to have a wither rose farm. Currently, this is completely covered in wither roses, but I think technically that's not supposed to work. So you might have to update this farm and remove some rows of wither roses in the future, just to let you know. But for now, mobs are spawning in wither roses. So, you know, 1 pod off to one side would probably be enough for most people. You get 1 single overnight AFK session should get you, you know, as many, you know, tiers as you might need. And then they gunpowder and bone. Maybe you know you can use this farm for gunpowder and bone as well. I don't know, and even a few ender pearls. But you know, you get quite a few items, and it's not too hard to set up. One of the big key things is making sure that you set this up in an ideal location in the Soulsand Valley. So I have this farm built just above the bedrock layer, so we don't have to worry about spawns below us. And you'll see up above, it's really key that you find a location similar to like what I'm going to show you, just to make things a lot easier as far as doing perimeter work. If you can find a large lava lake within the Soulsand Valley, it's going to make your life a lot easier because we only need to spawn proof up to Y61, and the ceiling here I think is about I don't know, 70 or something, so I don't have to worry about anything up there. I just need to spawn proof the perimeter where there's actual blocks for mobs to spawn on. So this was kind of a great spot. So it's, you know, it'll make your life a lot easier because spawn proofing out here is not that easy. Ghasts spawn quite regularly, and the skeletons these days have, like, you know, laser accuracy and rapid fire bows, so they can be a real pain to deal with. So bring a lot of plenty of light sources to spawn proof as you go to make sure that you stay safe. Inside here I also have a couple of bells off the back of the collection system just to let you know when the hopper minecarts have come back, if you wanted to, you know, check the collection system. And it also gives you a little signal that the carts are still working. Because one thing I found with minecarts in Bedrock, I'm not sure if it's true in Java, but they tend to disappear. So keep an eye on your minecarts. Make sure that they're running, and don't forget about it. All right, let's head over to the creative world and show you how to set one up for yourself. Okay, here we are in a new creative world. Decided to get a fresh seed, see what we got. On the other side, you got the nether portal, and yeah, this is what I saw when I set it up. It's the Soulsand Valley. How perfect is that? So now all we need to do is find a proper location. Let's see, we're Y70. So we want to go down a little bit and see if we can find a, wow. Yeah, a lava lake. Perfect. This is looking good. Soul sand all around. Oh, wow, this is huge. Wow, we might not even have to do perimeter work here. Does it go all the way across? It goes all the way across. This, if you can find something like this is what you want. Look how high this ceiling is. Wow. All right, now I'm going to just try and find the coordinate that's kind of centered in the middle of this lava lake to make everything easier. So let's see, you got minus 137.32. So we're going to head that way underground to head off to the side here and make a little tunnel going all the way over. Now, of course, when digging down around in the nether, there's going to be the chance of lava, so you might want to bring a whole bunch of fire resistance potions or something along those lines. Make sure you don't get burnt up on your way down to the bottom. We're going to mine all the way down till we hit bedrock. We're going to start building on Y5. All right, once you're at Y5, let's head out to that center of our farm. So now that we've gotten to the center coordinate, go ahead and mark it with a block of your choice to help remind you where it's at. And what we're going to do is go off to one side and mine out a corridor that's 3 wide, 7 tall by 24 blocks long. Okay, now that you have your corridor mined out, it should look like this. Added a couple of light source blocks to keep mobs from spawning. You're going to want to keep doing that along the way of this whole video. If I don't spawn proof along the way, like when I was up top there scouting everything out, you should definitely spawn proof the area around your access point. You don't want to go up there and get a surprise. So now that we have this corridor, this is 24 long from the center point, so this would be 25 here. It's 24 long because mobs don't spawn within a 24 block radius around the player. They start spawning from 25 to 54. So what we're going to do here is start digging out our actual kill chamber. I recommend going from the top and then going down and putting a few light sources on the top of the ceiling that we'll remove later. And then when you get to the bottom, put some light sources along the bottom as well. I'm going to go ahead and dig this out and show you what it looks like. The total dimensions of this room will be 47 by 23, centered on this block here. All right, now that we have the room all dug out and properly lit, it looks something like this. This is 47 wide, 23 long, and 7 high. I have lights along the ceiling and the floor to keep mobs from spawning. Alternatively, you could just switch the game to peaceful and you wouldn't have to do any of this lighting here. But if you are going to be building in survival with mob spawning, you're going to want to have everything lit up. For this next part, we're going to install the redstone blocks as a power strip for the powered rails in our collection system. So let's go 3 off of the corner here. So we've got 1, 2, 3, and then we're going to install a line of redstone blocks. Then we come to the center of the farm and do the same thing. Install another line of redstone blocks. Okay, then 3 off of this back wall. We'll do 1 last strip of redstone blocks here. All right, now that power strips are in place, we can go ahead and fill in the rest of this floor with solid blocks. Now that we've completed the floor, the next part of this installation would be to put in the rails themselves. So let's go back here into the corridor, start building this platform back. And what we can do is come off this side here with a powered rail. We're going to run it 1 past the redstone block there. Then we're going to lay down 6 regular rails, followed by 3 powered rails. I'm going to follow that pattern until we get to the end. And then do a little U-turn. I'll do this all the way down, back and forth until we get to the end of the line. Okay, now that most of our tracks are in, at the very end here, we want to have 4 rails that go all the way into that wall there at the end. So now to install the second half, we're just going to come off to the corridor again and lay down some more track. This one's just going to squiggle off to the side first, though. Actually, let's make that a powered rail there. And let's bring the powered rails 1 across the redstone block. And then we're going to do the same pattern we did before. 6 regular rails followed by 3 powered rails. And we're going to do the same thing all the way to the end with 4 powered rails at the end going into the wall. Okay, now that we have the corridor all filled in, we need to install our central chest for the collection system. I put it here in the middle of the farm in my survival world because I have 2 pods. But if you only want to build 1 pod, you can go ahead and install this closer to the farm itself to save you a few blocks and tracks. So let's go off the ceiling 3 blocks down and then install a double chest. And off the side of this chest, we're going to want to install 6 hoppers. And on top of this 6th hopper, we're going to put 1 more hopper pointing face down. And then 2 more hoppers each on the side. Just like that. Now let's go ahead and put a solid block behind that hopper on each side. 1 down below, 1 above. One more there, and 1 more there. All right, so now we can go ahead and put a redstone torch underneath here on each of these blocks. A repeater pointing that way. Comparators down here facing this way. And now we can go ahead and put in powered rails on top of these blocks and regular rails on top of these hoppers here. Just like that. Additionally, if you want to have a little notification when the hopper minecarts have dropped off a load, like you might have seen in my survival farm, you can install bells off the back of those blocks here. So every time a hopper minecart comes through, you get a little indication. So now what we're going to do is come back around to the front here, and we're going to walk these tracks down to the bottom of the farm. So I have 2 regular rails coming down from the top there, then it goes into powered rails all the way until it meets the tracks here. And what we can do now is just install a power source along the way here to make sure these final tracks have a little juice too. All right, just throw a lever along here someplace, turn it on. There we go. Now we have enough power for all the tracks. Okay, for this next step, we're going to need to install the layer that goes above the tracks that we actually plant the wither roses in. You can use soil, netherrack, I think soul sand, but you probably want to go with netherrack because you're going to mine a lot of it digging out this farm, and might as well put it back to some good use. So go ahead and fill in the layer entirely over the track, and then we'll go ahead and install the wither roses on top of them. With the spawn platform installed, we can now begin placing our wither roses. Like I said in the beginning of the video, I'm completely covering this for now because it works, but in the future it may not, and we may have to go to strips, where instead of having every block covered, you have a strip or a row of blocks covered instead, allowing spawnable spaces off to the side. But for now, the wither roses don't seem to be preventing any spawns, so let's go ahead and install a complete layer of wither roses. All right, we have a beautiful field of wither roses installed. Let's go ahead and put in a window here. It's not necessary, but I like having a little viewing area of the farm to make sure that, just to see what's going on. Go ahead and block this off to make sure that no light from our corridor is going to get through. And what we're going to need to do to activate the farm is remove all these light sources. Now, I used shroom lights in my survival build and kind of left myself a little bit of a path to run. I use shroom lights because you can use a hoe to instant break them, and it won't damage the netherrack or any of the stuff behind it. Say, like if you're using a pickaxe, you wouldn't want to accidentally break the netherrack. But if you're doing it in peaceful, never mind. You don't have to worry about this part, but it is a little tricky getting the lights off and getting out of there fast enough before the ghasts spawn and start blasting you. Alternatively, you could install a redstone light ceiling, something like this, set up as a little bit of a demonstration. For future-proofing the farm, if you need to turn the lights back on to remove a few rows of roses, you can just flip the switch, and there you go. You have lights. But that's a whole other step. For now, let's just go ahead and finish off this corridor. Give ourselves a little path to the viewing area. All right, so once this room goes dark, we should start getting our spawns. Start off at the far end and just work our way around. All right, now the mobs should start spawning, and when we get to our center of our farm, the whole thing should be active. And we'll hear the wonderful, wonderful sounds of ghasts being killed by wither roses. All right, now that the ghasts are screaming, what we can do to optimize the farm is spawn-proof as best we can in the perimeter. So take a note of your coordinates. See, I got minus 136 and 32. Now I'm going to want to go 54 blocks or 55 blocks in each direction and, you know, lay down some lights and see what we got. When you're topside, you want to go ahead and start laying in your perimeter work. Any blocks that lay within your 54 block perimeter radius around your AFK spot, you're going to want to fill in with lights as best you can. So I'm just going to add this outside boundary here until I get to the next area. All right, once you have all your perimeter work done and all your lights in place, the farm should be the only spawnable location in the area. So your farm should start screaming away. Let's go ahead and head down below and check out that action. Okay, that's the sound we want to hear. Lots of screaming going on. One additional step you might want to take to verify that you've spawn-proofed. You've done a good job spawn-proofing. One trick I've learned is that you can use a boat in a fashion like this. Clear out some room. And you take your boat into the wall and you get X-ray vision. So this will help you see if there's any. Let's see if you can get right to there. We go. Now we can see through all the solid blocks in the area. We can see if there's anything else spawning nearby. So if you see anything, over here in this area, then you have to do a little bit more spawn proofing. You can do this with all four sides. Do a little X-ray peeking to make sure that you've done all the spawn proofing you need to make sure this farm is as efficient as possible. Now, if you're only building one pod, you're done. This is the setup. This will get you at least a stack an hour of the Ghast Tears. But if you wanted to build the second pod, you just go off from the center point again and do the same thing we did for the first corridor, only doing it off of this side, and you will essentially double your rates. Now, adding additional third or fourth pods doesn't seem to add much as far as the drop rates. I tested both out in another world. And I got a lot more bones and arrows, but not Ghast Tears. And it wasn't significantly more bones and arrows either. So I think this seems to be a decent build. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, as always, leave them in the comment section below. I hope you have fun building this farm. And, make sure to turn the volume down, because this is a loud farm. I'm kind of tired of hearing ghast screams. Okay, bye for now. Let's get out of here. Goodbye.